This is News Now, reaching you live from iBrandTV News Studios here in Lagos. Coming up, pandemonium in Ibadan as some irate youths stormed Oyo State Secretariat to protest the death of a 16-year-old boy. About 2,000 people displaced by flood within a week in ADAMAWA State. International Monetary Fund maintains economic growth rate of 2.5% for 2021 and 2.6% for 2022. U.S. Treasury yields rise ahead of the release of minutes from the Federal Reserve's latest policy meeting. Hello, glad to have you join us on News Now. And here are stories making headlines at this hour. I'm Michael Nath. President Muhammadu Buhari has commenced the implementation of the newly signed Petroleum Industry Act by approving a steering committee to oversee the process. A statement issued on Wednesday by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, revealed that the steering committee will be headed by the Minister of State Petroleum Resources, Timipre Silva. According to the statement, the primary responsibility of the steering committee shall be to guide the effective and timely implementation of the PIA and the course of transition to the petroleum industry envisaged in the reform program, and ensure that the new institutions created have the full capability to deliver on their mandates under the new legislation. The committee has 12 months during which the assignment will be completed and a period updates will be given to the President. Now, the Nigeria Police Force says investigations into alleged indictment of Deputy Commissioner of Police DCP ABBA KYARI by the Federal Bureau of Investigation is still ongoing. The Force Public Relations Officer Frank Mba, in a statement on Tuesday, debunked claims that the panel in charge of the probe had submitted its report to the Inspector General of Police, Usman Al-Khali Baba. The police spokesman, however, promised that the outcome of the investigation by the panel will be communicated to the public. KYARI, the former head of the Police Intelligence Response Team, is being investigated following his indictment by the FBI over his alleged relationship with the fraudster Raymond Abbas, popularly known as Hush Puppy. Now, there was a pandemonium and heavy gridlock at the AGODI area of Ibadan this morning. Some irate youths stormed Oyo State Secretariat protesting the death of a young boy who was allegedly shot dead by a Amotekun coal. Now, the protesters in their hundreds stormed AGODI Secretariat with the corpse of a 16-year-old teenager identified as Peter, demanding justice over the gruesome murder of the boy. A corpse was convened to the Secretariat with a keke napep, while the protesters were chanting different songs. Some of the protesters claimed that the boy was shot by an Amotekun officer. As at the time of filing these reports, normalcy has returned to the affected areas as the protesters have left in peace to their various daily activities. Meanwhile, the Oyo State Command of the Western Security Network, Amotekun, has denied any involvement of the killing in the 16-year-old boy. Speaking with newsmen, the commandant of the Oyo State Amotekun Corps, Olayinka Olayonju, noted that the allegation was an attempt to discredit the efforts of the security outfit in combating crimes in the state. He noted that those accusing the security agency are those who were not allowed to carry out their nefarious activities in the area. The ONDO state government has reassured its residents, irrespective of tribe or religion, of adequate security of their lives and properties. The state government said this when a delegation led by Deputy Governor Alake Ayediatiwa paid a condolence visit to the relatives of victims of the Jos attack, where 28 lives were lost.
When things like this happen, it's not as if God is not aware. God knows about all things. So we just have to take it as they come. It's just like one of the Yoruba prayer that you know, they walk into a crisis situation that has taken their lives. So it's not, they weren't enemy to the people that killed them per se, but it's a mistaken identity.
Your state government has flagged off the distribution of 5 million threatened insecticide nets across the state. The flag off program, which took place in Ibadan, had in attendance stakeholders in the health sector within and outside Nigeria. Speaking on behalf of the governor of your state, Makinde, the deputy chief of staff to the governor, Mujid Jubola, said the initiative was aimed at increasing awareness in fighting against the malaria sickness across the state.
I stand here today to flag up the distribution of 5 million insecticide-treated nets that will be distributed across all 33 local government areas of Oyo State. Malaria is still a public challenge in Nigeria and Oyo State at large. It seriously challenges the healthcare needs of women and children, most especially pregnant women in our communities, especially at the grassroots. This net distribution process is expected to increase awareness of communities on the appropriate knowledge, attitude, and skills in preventing malaria caused by mosquito bites.
We can reduce the impact of malaria, but it's up to the people to hang up the nets, to sleep under a net every night, and then roll them up during the day to protect them from wear and tear. The U.S. government is one of the biggest supporters in the fight against malaria through the President's Malaria Initiative.
Oyo State Governor Makinde on Tuesday received the inaugural flight of Air Peace in Ibadan, saying that the flights will uplift the airport and boost the economy of the state. The governor also commissioned the protocol lounge constructed by the state government at the Ibadan airport, Alakija, saying that the commissioning is a fulfillment of a long-held dream.
Well, it's a fulfillment of a long-held dream. I've been at this airport. Well, let me also appreciate Overland, because yeah, they were here and they kept the airport open. But we've been here and we've seen situations where you just miss the Overland flight because they have one flight in a day, and then the next flight you have to go to Lagos. So we're excited today because part of what we said we're going to do as a government is to expand the economy of the state.
We came out with the mantra, no city left behind. The only way to encourage peace and unity in this country is also to encourage free flow of people and activities. So we decided that we have to interconnect the cities of this country. We are going to, like I said, interconnect this place with the north. We are going to interconnect Ibadan, being the capital of the old southwest region, western region. We are going to connect it with the north. We are going to start doing Kano, Ibadan, Ibadan-Kano before November. Before November 2, we are going to start Enugu, Ibadan, and Ibadan-Enugu, connecting Ibadan with the eastern region. Of course, we are going to connect Ibadan with the south-south, and the governor is very keen on us doing Ibadan Port Harcourt. And it will come, we have the equipment, we have the capacity to do it as Air Peace.
Gunmen have killed 5 people in BASSA local government area of Plateau State. It was guarded that the victims were killed when gunmen attacked Chando Zenrechi, Tafia, Ghana, a village on Tuesday night. The national president of the Irigwe Development Association, Ezekiel Bini, confirmed the killings to in Jos on Wednesday. According to him, the whereabouts of 4 other persons have remained unknown after they were captured by the government. When contacted, the military information officer of the Operation Safe Haven, Major Ishak Takwa, was not immediately available for comment over the attacks. Now, the Ondo state government has banned the activities of associations of tippers and quarry owners of Nigeria, Ondo state chapter. The decision of the state government followed the sharp and astronomical increase in the price of sharp sand from 25 naira or 25,000 naira to 60,000 naira per load of a 10-tire truck across the state. Addressing journalists at the governor's office, Akure, the senior special assistant to the governor on special duties and strategy, Doyin Odebowale, decried the high rate of extortion by the sharp sand dealers in the state.
Please believe that once you are in a union, you are to extort money from members of the public, you are to make things difficult for people, you are to ensure that you supervise how people get unhappy. And we as a government have a responsibility to ensure that we discourage you actively from doing so. To be specific, we are hereby asking all those who claim to be members of Tippers Union or whatever, in whatever guise or association, to leave our quarries, to leave our state immediately. We want anybody who wants to buy sharp sands, gravels, laterite, whatever, to feel free to approach those who sell. We are removing these middlemen with immediate effect. And anybody who wants to test the will of the government will have himself or herself to be blamed.
Officials of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps in Ondo State have arrested a 29-year-old man, Oke Adebomi, for allegedly raping a 4-year-old girl at Oshinle area of Akure. The suspect was arrested by the Anti-Human Trafficking, Illegal and Migration and Gender-Based Units of the Command. Parading the suspect and 3 others of the command, the state commandant of the NSCDC, Hamid Abdourin, said his men acted professionally by saving the suspect, who was almost killed by some angry mob.
The first one, Oke Adebomi, who went and raped or defied a 4-year-old girl. The mother was not around. He lured her into his room and had sex with her. And when the mother came, the mother was looking for the daughter and she was calling her, only for her to discover that the girl came out of the suspect's room. And she made inquiries. She took the girl to her room and she checked her very well. And she said she saw sperm around her private parts. That was what made her to raise alarm, and we were alerted, and that was how we came in. He was arrested.
So, and I started praying with the guest. So later, and I off his pants. So later, and I start from, and I remove my boxers. So later, and I remove my pennies.
Now, the Adamawa State Emergency Management Agency says no fewer than 2,000 people have been infected by flood within a week across the state. Mohammed Suleiman, the executive secretary of the agency, told the News Agency of Nigeria on Wednesday in Yola that 227 houses and 300 farmlands were also destroyed by the flood. According to him, 850 of the victims and 161 houses were in Dohu district of Madagali, local government area of the state. He said that the people were displaced by heavy rains on Tuesday, which caused serious damage to farmlands and houses. Suleiman recalled that between August the 11th and August the 12th, more than 150 farmlands and about 66 houses were also destroyed by flood in Lababiri village, a Sheleng local government area. He assured that the agency and other sister organizations were working to offer assistance to the affected communities. You're watching News Now, coming to you from iBrandTV News Studios here in Lagos. Coming up next is Business News. Just as the Central Bank of Nigeria predicted inflation for the fourth time consecutively plunged downward to settle at 17.38% year-on-year in July 2021, confirming the slide in its consumer price index yesterday. National Bureau of Statistics said that the drop indicates 0.37% points lower than the rate recorded in June 2021, 17.75%. And NBS said prices of major items were on the rise, but at a slower rise than it did in June 2021. Consequently, the Bureau said increases were recorded in all divisions that yielded the headline index. On month-on-month basis, the headline index increased by 0.93% in July 2021. This was 0.13% points lower than the rate recorded in June 2021 as 1.06%. International Monetary Fund has maintained an unchanged economic growth rate of 2.5% for 2021 and 2.6% for 2022 in Nigeria. According to a document released in this regard, the upgrade in 2022 depends on the expected improvements in trade and oil productions. Also, improvements in external financial conditions are expected to increase despite the bouts of volatility. The forecast is also predicated on the continued improvements in external financial conditions, which have, despite some bouts of volatility recently, have actually been fairly supportive of growth, and it's important that that continues in order for this growth for forecast to pan out. Now, the Central Bank of Nigeria reiterates that abusers of NAIRA at social events risk imprisonment or an imposition of fine. The CBN noted in a statement issued on Tuesday that according to the bank's 2007 amended act, spraying of, dancing or matching on the NAIRA notes on note issued by the bank during social occasions or otherwise, howsoever, shall constitute an abuse, and the defacing of the NAIRA or such note shall be punishable under the law by fines or imprisonment or both. The act prescribed imprisonment for 6 months and or a 50,000 naira fine for any defacing or abusing the NAIRA socially functions. And the CBN also warned that abusers of NAIRA notes will be prosecuted by the financial regulator in collaboration with other regulatory bodies such as the Nigeria Police, Federal Inland Revenue Service, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, and the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit. Now, the Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture has said for the Petroleum and Industry Bill to achieve its purpose, it needs to be implemented in a structured and disciplined manner to reinforce confidence among local and international players. Now, the association, which welcomed the signing into law of the bill by President Muhammadu Buhari after a long journey, commended thus bold and strategic steps to repositioning the Nigerian oil and gas sector to restore investors' confidence and attract much-needed foreign direct investment and local participation. It noted that until now, the sector was stagnated and the number of principal players placed new investments on hold or even divested existing assets due to perceived unstable legal and policy environments. The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timothy Silva, says signing of the Petroleum Industry Bill by President Muhammadu Buhari may not automatically translate to a hike in pump price of petrol, premium motor spirit. Speaking at a media briefing in Abuja, Silva said that despite the PIA provisions on deregulation, Nigerians should await presidential details and directives on today when it would be tabled at the weekly Federal Executive Council meeting. A report says that the signing of the PIB would translate to higher petrol price of about 270 naira per litre. Silva had repeatedly said that the new law has no provision for subsidy currently being borne by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation. The minister, however, revealed that the national oil company would be unbundled in the next 6 months as stipulated in the new law. The Central Bank of Nigeria moved to strengthen cyber resilience of other financial institutions under its regulation in order to ensure that they remain safe and sound amidst increase in the number of sophistication of cybersecurity threats and attacks against them. The move was contained in a circular titled Exposure Draft of the RISE-based Cybersecurity Framework and Guidelines for Other Financial Institutions, which was addressed to all OFIs in the country. The CBN correspondent dated August 13, 2021, and signed by Director OFI's Department Nkiru Asiebu, stipulated the minimum requirements for enhancing cybersecurity. The Apex Bank explained the purpose of their guidelines, which provides a risk-based approach to managing cybersecurity risk, was to, among other things, create a safer and more secure cyber environment that supports information system security and promotes stability of the OFI subsector. It noted that the safety and soundness of the subsector particularly required that they operate a safe and secure environment. Now, oil prices started steadied on Wednesday after 4 days of declines, with investors still wary about prospects for stronger fuel demand as the use of rail, air, and other forms of transport remained constrained amid surging COVID-19 cases worldwide. After flitting around Tuesday's close in Asian morning trade, Brent crude oil was up 23 cents or 0.3% at $69.26 a barrel by 0512 GMT. U.S. oil gained 24 cents or 0.4% to $66.83 in barrel. And now India, world's third biggest crude importer, also started sales of oil to state-run refineries from its strategic petroleum reserve, putting in practice a new policy to commercialize federal storage by leasing out space. We'll take a commercial break now and come back with more. Stay with us.
Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, professional dry cleaners. Best in dry cleaning and laundry services that meets the needs of our consumers. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah, for clean wash and quick delivery. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. For clean wash and quick delivery. Ooh.
Swift Dry Cleaners.
You're welcome back. We'll now continue the business news on the African scene. The Northern Corridor Secretariat has a $4.4 million budget for 2021-2022 financial year to implement and complete pending projects, as was approved by the Council of Ministers recently. The budget passed at the 33rd meeting was recommended by the Executive Committee as the corridor reports the inefficiencies and challenges in achieving its full potential in promoting inter-regional trade and integration. Some of the key programs still pending include the establishment of the $700 million road slide stations, developing conformity testing laboratories to improve efficiency along the corridor, and implementation of uniform levies as agreed on a 2015 in Kinshasa. But the RSS project seeks to put up 67 roadside stations of 141 stations identified back in 2005 to serve as rest points for truck drivers in Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, South Sudan, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now, the Intergovernmental Authority on Development has signed a 3-year, $3 million grant with the World Bank to set up an inter-regional platform for the sustainable management of desert locusts and other transboundary pests. The grant is part of the World Bank's Emergency Locust Response Program, Phase 3, and is expected to run until August 2024. The overall goal of the platform is to strengthen synergies, sustained management and control of desert locusts and other transboundary pests in the IGAD region. The platform will be extended not only to member states, but to all countries affected by the desert locusts and other transboundary pests. And on the international scene, Binance said on Wednesday it had appointed a former U.S. Treasury criminal investigator as its global money laundering reporting officer, part of an attempt by one of the world's largest crypto exchanges to reinvent itself as a regulated financial firm. Governments and financial watchdogs are paying closer attention to the cryptocurrency industry, often putting in place rules that pose a challenge for exchanges like Binance that have thrived in a mostly unregulated environment. In recent months, Britain, Italy, and Hong Kong have said Binance units are not authorized to carry out regulated activity in their markets, while Malaysia's financial regulator reprimanded the exchanges for operating illegally in the country. Bloomberg also reported earlier this year Binance was under investigation by the U.S. Justice Department and the Internal Revenue Service. U.S. Treasury yields rose on Wednesday morning ahead of the release of minutes from the Federal Reserve's latest policy meeting. The yield on the benchmark 10-year Treasury note rose nearly 2 basis points to 1.275% at 4 a.m. ET. And yield on the 30-year Treasury bond added 1 basis point, rising to 1.933%. Yields move inversely to prices at 1 basis point is 0.01%. Minutes from the Federal Open Market Committee's July meeting are due to be published at 2 p.m. ET on Wednesday. Investors will be poring over the minutes for any indicators as to when the Federal and the Fed will start to taper its bond buying program. In addition, data for the number of building permits issued, as well as the number of housing projects started in July, will be released at 8:30 a.m. ET. Auctions will be held on Wednesday for $30 billion of 119-day bills and $27 billion of 20-year bonds. And that's the size of the package. Thanks very much for watching. I am Michael Nath.